Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is September 15th, 2025. We are in the New Testament book of Luke. We're going to read chapter 10, verse 25 to 42 today. We're going to start with the story of the Good Samaritan. So a lawyer gets up and thinks he's got the perfect way to trip up Jesus, and he asks him about the commandment. What's the best commandment, greatest commandment? And Jesus, in this case in Luke, turns the question back on him and says, well, what do you think it is? And he tells him, love God with all your heart and love your neighbor. And Jesus says, great, well told. And our lawyer, thinking, ooh, I got him now, says, well, who is my neighbor that I have to be good to? And Jesus tells him, your neighbor is everyone that ain't you, essentially is what he tells him. Even your enemies, which is a radical concept for them in the first century. He tells this story about the Samaritan. We have a Jewish man who's injured. Priest comes by, walks on the other side. Levi comes by, ignores him. So there's the two Pharisees, Sadducees, essentially is what we want to see, that ignored this injured person, and the Samaritan, who should have nothing to do with a Jew, and the Jew should have nothing to do with the Samaritan, is the belief in the first century, to the point that Jews wouldn't even walk through Samaria if they didn't have to. He comes across the man and he helps him. Doesn't even think twice, he helps him. It's a person who needs help. I have the means to help that person. I'm going to help that person. But he's not on your team. Doesn't matter. And he tells the person, you know what, that's what love your neighbor is. Not that you're loving the people on your team, but you love everybody no matter what they're doing to you. And he goes from that story, he goes into Mary and Martha's house, and we get almost the same thing happen here. It's a little bit different. Martha is waiting on the multitude that's come with Jesus, his disciples, and she's serving them and preparing food, and that's what we want to see. She's hustling, bustling, she's serving the Lord. Her sister Mary reclines at Jesus' feet. She wants the learning, and we see Martha question that, and we want to see is Martha not the service. That's not what's wrong. It's that self-righteousness of, hey, this is what I'm doing, she needs to be doing what I'm doing. And we amplify that self-righteousness because then she wants to go deep and say, hey, Jesus, I'm mad at her. You should be mad at her too. But Jesus says, hey, you know what? You're doing what you're doing, and that's great. She's doing what she needs to do, which is learn at my feet. You have to do that to know what you're serving. So we don't want to see that he necessarily rebukes Martha for what she's doing. Jesus just corrects her self-righteousness in this case. Yes, you got to serve Jesus, but you got to have the knowledge from Jesus' mouth to do so. You have to know where you're short, get that knowledge, get that learning. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to read Luke chapter 10, verse 25 to 42. And behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tested him, saying, Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? He said to him, what is written in the law? What is your reading of it? So he answered and he said, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. And he said to him, you have answered rightly, do this and you will live. But he, wanting to justify himself, said to Jesus, and who is my neighbor? Then Jesus answered and said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves, who stripped him of his clothing, wounded him, and departed, leaving him half dead. Now by chance a certain priest came down that road, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. Likewise, a Levite, when he arrived at the place, came and looked, and passed by on the other side. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion. So he went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. And he set him on his own animal, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. And the next day when he departed, he took out 2 denarii, gave them to the innkeeper, and said to him, take care of him, and whatever more you spend, when I come again, I will repay you. So which of these 3 do you think was neighbor to him who fell among the thieves? And he said, he who showed mercy on him. Then Jesus said to him, go and do likewise. Now it happened as they went that he entered a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, who also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. But Martha was distracted with much serving, and she approached him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Therefore tell her to help me. And Jesus answered and said to her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things, but one thing is needed, and Mary has chosen that good part, which will not be taken away from her. May God bless the reading of his word, and may God bless you. Bye.